ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषु भिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदयादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, chapter number 3, verse number 24. This is a description of talk between Lord Shiva and his wife Sati. And as we have been reading, Sati was very much interested in going and participating in the sacrifice which was performed by her father Daksha. But Lord Shiva was not inclined to go there because first of all he was not invited, and secondly, as he said, that Daksha was envious of him and it will be inappropriate to go there. And he said that even if she went, then she will not be treated properly because she is wife of Lord Shiva. Then he gave an explanation why is that he did not respect Daksha when Daksha had entered in the assembly. And everybody stood up except Shiva and Daksha's father Brahma. So he said that respect is actually given to the Lord within the heart and not to the body. And since I was already meditating on the Lord, there was no need. In fact, he was not even aware because he was so absorbed. So he says this is the reason. And then he gave this explanation how Lord becomes manifest. This is one of the very important verses. Sattvam visuddham vasudeva samritam yatra iyate pumana pavritam. That Lord, he becomes manifest in Vasudeva, and that's why he is called Vasudeva. And Vasudeva is Vishuddha Sattva. Vishuddha Sattva does not mean material Sattva free from all impurities. Sometimes people think like this, that if you purify Sattva, Sattva Guna, then it will become Vishuddha Sattva. Because it looks like that. Vishuddha means pure and Sattva is Sattva. So it looks like there is pure Sattva and impure Sattva. When we use an adjective to a noun, then one of the function of adjective is to distinguish it from the rest of the objects of the same class. Like if you say red flower or say red rose, so then the word red implies that it is different. This rose is not blue, it's not yellow, it's not white. It distinguishes it from the class of roses. Rose itself makes it distinguished from all other objects. If you simply say rose, then rose means anything which is not a rose. When you say red rose, then it limits it even within the class of roses, and it is only the rose of red color. So if we say Vishuddha Sattva, then it looks like that there is Ashuddha Sattva, impure Sattva, and there is Vishuddha Sattva, pure Sattva. And Sattva, everybody knows, is material guna. It is one of the three gunas of material nature. So it implies, or it is understood, that if it is Vishuddha Sattva and God becomes manifest in that Vishuddha Sattva, that means if you make Sattva very pure, then God will become manifest in that. So this is actually the understanding of Advaitvadis, impersonalists, because for them God is also within the three gunas. Beyond three gunas is only Brahman, and Brahman is qualityless. There are no attributes in Brahman. So for them Bhagavan, whether it is Krishna or Ram or anyone else, they are also within the gunas, except that they are in Sattva Guna. And they consider it as Vishuddha Sattva. So they will explain it like this: Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Sabditam Vadiyate Tatra Pumana Pavritam. That it is pure Sattva and it is called Vasudeva, and then Puman person becomes revealed in that pure Sattva. So if you see the sadhana, the spiritual practice of whether it is Advaitvad, Yoga or any of these paths, then their essence is actually to increase your Sattva. And as your Rajas and Tamas will decrease and Sattva will increase, then you get spiritually advanced. This is their idea. And this does not fit in the path of Bhakti, because Bhakti is not dependent on Rajas, Sattva or Tamas. Although many times devotees also think like this, that if you become situated in Sattva, then you can be a devotee. But devotion is not dependent on that at all. It has actually nothing to do with any of the gunas. And this is not known to most people. When many of Vaishnava Sampradayas, they think that you have to increase Sattva. So increasing Sattva is good, there is no doubt, because Sattva gives a facility to understand it, illuminates, and as we read in Sankhya philosophy, Sattva is leading you to light, and Rajas and Tamas, they cover you. Krishna also explains this in Bhagavad Gita. Yet, if you want to become free from the gunas, then Sattva is also a condition. That Krishna also says, Gyan Sangena Badhanati, Sukh Sangena Chanava. That Sattva also binds because it gives knowledge and happiness. That is the characteristic of Sattva. Rajas gives misery and Tamas gives ignorance. So although it gives knowledge, yet it cannot make you transcendental to itself. Therefore, our Acharya Jiva Goswami has written a very long commentary on this verse, and he has also done a very big explanation of this verse in Bhagavad Sandarbha. Just to prove that this Vishuddha Sattva should not be confused with Sattva, which is purified of Rajas and Tamas. And one of the things is that Rajas and Tamas, they can never be away from sattva, because these three gunas are always together. Sarve sarve milita anyonya sarve sarvatra gamina. So all the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, they are always together. It is not possible that there can be only sattva and no rajas and tamas, or vice versa. So there is no such possibility that it can be pure sattva. It can be high intensity of sattva and low percentage of rajas and tamas. There is no such thing as Vishuddha Sattva in the material domains. So Vishuddha Sattva here is a name for the Chit Shakti or the Antaranga Shakti of the Lord, which actually means Bhakti. It is another word for Bhakti, power of devotion, because Lord manifests only in Bhakti. There are 16 types of energies described here in Bhagavatam, and one of them is called the Murti. So this Murti actually refers to this Vasudeva Shakti, and it is in this that the Lord's Murti or form becomes revealed. So he said this Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabdatam, that this Vishuddha Sattva is called Vasudeva, and it is in this that Lord is realized. And when a person's heart is imbued with this energy, then one can have the inspiration of Lord's form in the heart. And this is what has happened to Shiva. So first line gives the general principle, and in the second line he gives a specific example. He says, Sattve cha tasmin Bhagavan Vasudevo hi adhokshajo me namsa vidhiyate. He says that in this very sattva, means this Vishuddha Sattva, I am always paying obeisances to Lord Vasudeva Krishna. In my mind, manasa vidhiyate, that Lord who is adhokshaja, who cannot be perceived by the senses. So we can perceive things of sattva with the senses, but not Vishuddha Sattva, because senses are material. So by this what he said, and as we read in the commentary of Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that at that time he was actually meditating on the Lord, and therefore he was not aware of Daksha's entering into the assembly, and thus he did not stand up. So he says that this is not known to Daksha, and therefore he got upset with me. So he says, I was already paying respect to the Lord, and this is the meaning of giving respect to somebody, that we give respect to the Lord in the heart. So I was already doing it, because Lord in my heart or Lord in Daksha's heart is same, it's not different. So now he concludes his talk, and he actually tells her not to go there. Says, Tatte niriksho na pitapi dehkvid daksho madvit tadanubrataschaye ye vishwasrigyagya gatam varoru mavanagasam durvachasa karotiraho. So he says, therefore it is not proper for you to go and visit your father. Although he is your father, he is the one who has given you this body. But because he is envious of me, Mamadvit, he is full of envy for me, Tadanubratascha, and also his followers. So says, don't go there, they are all envious of me. Yo Vishwasrigam Visvashigyagatam Taroru Mam Anagasam Durvachsakara. He says he is the same person who has disrespected me in the sacrifice when he has gone. And Durvachsa, he spoke very harsh words. So Tiraskarat, disrespected, he insulted me in front of everyone. So he says, don't go there. And if you go there, then what will happen? Yadi vrajishyati haya madvacho bhadram bhavatyana tato bhavishyati sambhavitasya svajanat parabhavo yada sasadyo maranaya kalpate. So if you go there disregarding my words, then definitely nothing auspicious will come out of that. Says that sambhavitasya svajanat parabhavo yadasya sadhya manapapati. But people who have respect, who are honorable, if they are disrespected by their own people, then it leads to death. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, sambhavitasya chakirti marnariti richati. So it is even worse than death. If there is a person who is well honored in the society, and then he is insulted, then it is a matter of great shame. Then it's better to die than to live in society like this. So he has already predicted that you will go there and your death is waiting. So this is the end of this chapter, and as we will read, then Sati will actually go there. So as I was saying yesterday, that there is some history behind it, and the history is that when Lord Ramachandra was there, then he was in the forest and Sita was kidnapped by Ravana. And when Sita was kidnapped, then Lord Ramachandra was wailing and weeping and searching where is Sita. So he was wandering in the forest looking for his wife. And at that time Lord Shiva and Parvati, they happened to be in that place. So Lord Shiva, he paid respect to Lord Ramachandra from far. He did not want to go and meet him. And Parvati was very surprised that what are you doing? So he said that he is my Lord. So she said that how that he is the Lord and he is crying like an ordinary person. So she had a doubt. So Lord Shiva said that don't doubt this. So Parvati, not Parvati at that time, but Sati, she said that I cannot accept this, that he is the Supreme Lord and you are such a great person, you meditate on the Supreme Lord and he is crying. You are so renounced, I have never seen you in such a mood, and he is just like somebody who has lost his property and so much attached. So Shiva said that you cannot understand, this is Lord's Leela. But if you don't believe me, then you go and find out for yourself. So Sati said that okay, I will test him. So he said okay, I will sit down here under the tree and you go and do your test. So Sati went, and what she did, that she turned herself into Sita. She took the form of Sita and then appeared in front of Lord Ramachandra. So obviously she thought that when he sees me in this form of Sita, then he will immediately be happy and think that I found my wife. And then I will know that he is not the Lord, because he could not figure it out. But what happened that when she went there, then Lord Ramachandra, he became just like normal and he said, oh Sati, how come you are alone today? Where is Lord Shiva? And he was not as if he was in any distress or any problem like this, he was just like normal, So Sati got completely shocked by this and she realized that I have made a big mistake. Actually, it was as if he was doing a play. His mood completely changed and he was absolutely normal. And he was able to recognize her. So she felt so embarrassed and she said, no, he's just somewhere here and I'm just going to him. So then she quickly left, and then she came to Shiva, and Lord Shiva asked, so what happened? So he said, yeah, you are right, he is actually the Supreme Lord. So he asked, and how did you figure it out? He said, well, it was very easy. I went to him and he just became normal. And he was asking about you. So she did not tell that she has actually took the form of Sita. And because she took the form of Sita and Lord Shiva, he worships Lord Rama Krishna. So now onwards he did not want to treat her as his wife. Because he took the form, she took the form of Sita Devi. So actually this form has to be given up. And this is the play behind it. That she will go. And earlier we also know that it was said that they did not have any children. And one of the reasons was because she was young, she died, but actually they lived from the sacrifice, it seems like, for 1000 years. So otherwise, how is it that she was bent upon going so much? And the question was asked that she is devoted to Lord Shiva. So how can she go against the wish of Lord Shiva? So she also realized this fact. But what to do about it now? And Lord Shiva also understands this. So this is what is forcing them to go. This is what is forcing her to go away from Shiva. And she is going to give up this body, and she knows that she has got a good chance now to rectify this. So this is one way of understanding it. Another way of understanding from psychological point of view, that we know that Lord Shiva is in charge of ego. He is the presiding deity of Ahankara, and she is the wife. So if she is the wife of Ahankara, then what can be the wife of Ahankara but pride? So she is also very proud, and therefore her pride became manifest and says, who are you? You are stopping me like this. This is the age of woman liberation. You cannot be always just under the thumb of husbands and listen to them. I am going. How can you stop me? So she went, and Lord Shiva did not stop her because he knew that unless she goes and gives up her body there, this Daksha's pride will not be curbed. Because Daksha was cursed to get a goat head. So how is he going to get goat head otherwise? And if she goes, she gives up the body, then he is going to get a goat head. That means getting a goat head means that this head which was being so proud, it will be removed. And Sati, who was also thinking that why he is stopping me, her pride will also be removed. And Daksha will also come to his senses, because afterwards he will beg forgiveness to Shiva. And Sati also knows that unless I go there, then Daksha will remain proud. And he will remain proud, and Lord Shiva will never get place in the sacrifice because he cursed. So now if I go and I give up my body and this happens to Daksha, then Daksha will be removed from this position. Then Lord Shiva will get some honor back among the sacrificial area. So this is the underplay which goes on behind the stories. So Sri Vishnu Chakravarti says that tatas tasmaditi yadi tvam pativrata bhavasi iti bhava. So Lord Shiva, as if he is saying that if you are really devoted to me, then don't go. I have spoken, I have given my order direction. And then if you listen to me, then don't go. So it's just like Arjuna says that I am your disciple, but I will not fight. So what kind of disciple is that? He says, Sishyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. I am surrendered to you. I am your disciple, I am your student. But after that he says, Nayotseti Govinda Uttva Tushnim Babhuva. He says, but one thing is that I am not fighting. So Krishna is saying, why you don't want to fight? He says, yeah, I am your chela, number one, but no fighting. So she says that I am your wife, I am devoted to you, and earlier she said that you have actually given me place in half of your body. Tvaya atmano ardeham adabra chakshusha. But I will not do what you are saying. So this is the human mind. Human mind is like this, that whatever they promise, they don't do that. Because promise is given only for that reason. Otherwise there is no need to say it. So mind is like this, that when it says something, then it wants to do the opposite of that. This is, of course, does not mean that everybody is like this, but general human mind. Arjuna is shown as a representative of normal people, because their minds are not under their control. Bahusakhayanantasya buddhyo avyavasayana. Mind of a common person is not vyavashayatmika buddhi, it is not fixed. And because if a person whose mind is not under his or her control, if the mind is not fixed, then what is the meaning of taking a vow? If you give a promise to somebody and you don't have a controlled mind, then what is the guarantee that you will follow this promise? There is no guarantee. Because whenever your mind will flicker, then your promise will go to the drain. So, promise can be kept only if you have control over yourself. And usually, when they take vow or promise, it is done for this sake only, so that they are reminded of it. And this way they try to control the mind. But people also forget, when it is New Year Day, everybody takes some promises that from today I will do this, from tomorrow I will do this. It's New Year Day. And then after a few days, few weeks, it is forgotten. Because there is nothing special about New Year. It's like any other day. Same sun, same sky, everything is same. It's only in the mind, New Year. If you can do it on New Year, you could have done it one day before that also. You are the same person. New Year is not giving you some special power to control yourself. But this is how mind thinks. So he says that if you are pativrata, means if you have actually taken a vow to follow my words, then don't go there. So Sati says, yes, I am a pativrata, but I am a modern pativrata, not the old-fashioned one. Deha kridapi pita iti poshakadi rupastu pita kimuta. So interestingly, there are two words he has used here for father. One is pita, which means father, and the other is dehakrit, means who has given you the body. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says that why two? He says pita could be a foster father. Somebody has adopted and also becomes a father. And that father may not have so much affection. The daughter is not actually born or created or procreated by father, just an adopted daughter. Then maybe there is not such an intense relationship. So then he uses the word dehakrit, that although he is your father, and father means the real father who has given birth to you, but still it is not going to give good result if you go there. Shleshena deham krintati iti bhavi dehapatasya sushita. Then he brings out another meaning of this word dehakrit. One meaning of Dreha Krit is one who gave this body, another is another root, Kriti Krintan, to cut. Means he is the killer of your body. So he is your father, but he will also become the cause of your death. And that's why there will be no auspiciousness. So as if he is already indicating to her indirectly that you are approaching your death. Mam tiro akarot tirasakara, because he has disrespected me. So please don't go there. Vipakshe doshamaha. And if you go, then what will happen? Yadeti apahayati kramme sambhavitasya supratishthitasya yada parabhavo bhavati tadasa parabhavah tasya maranaya kalpata. So it says that if you go there, then definitely it will bring you death. And the reason is that for an honorable person, insult is as good as death. Because common people may live just their life, but people of high caliber, then honor, respect, this is their life. Somebody is very famous and then it becomes infamous, and they cannot show their face in society. So that is as good as dying. Because you cannot participate in the functions, festivals, go to relatives, there is nothing, you hide yourself, go under house arrest. So I said this will be definitely your death, so don't go there. So this is the end of 3rd chapter. Now 4th chapter, atha chaturtho adhyaya Maitreya uvacha. Etavaduktva virarama shankaraha patni anganasham hyubhyatra chintayan suhudra dikshu parishankita bhavan niskramati nirvashati dvidhasasa. So he says that after saying this, Lord Shiva, he stopped. He spoke to her, tried to dissuade her not to go to this festival, gave various reasons. And then he became very thoughtful. And Maitreya says that Patni Anganasam hi ubhyatra chintani. He thought that actually now the death of Sati is inevitable. Because if she does not go, then also she will kill herself. And if she goes, then also she is finished. So I said there is no choice, but better than killing herself here, that she goes there and kills herself there. So this is what he was deliberating on. And why she will kill herself here? Because she was very adamant. In Sahitya they say that there are 3 types of obstinacy: Priyahat, Balhat and Rajhat. That women, children and princes, kingly people, they are very obstinate. You have seen children, I want only this toy, and the other one will also say, I also want only this. And you say that I will give you another one, same type, says no, I want only this. So once they fix their mind on something, then difficult to get it off from that. So she was very fixed on going, and if she is not allowed to go there, then she is going to burn herself. So therefore it is described as Shruhid Dridrikshu Parishankata Bhavan Niskramati Nirvashati Dvidha. So Sati was divided in her mind. She was very much eager to go and meet her relatives. At the same time, she was Parishankita. She was fearful of Shiva, Bhavat, that if I go, And what is he going to say? What is he going to think? How he will receive me when I come back, like this. So what she was doing, that she was moving and this way and that way. So Niskramati Niroshati. She was going out and coming in, going out and coming in. And she became double-minded, like a pendulum. So she will say, no, who is he? How can he stop me? I have to go. I have not been to my father's house for so long, I'm going. And she goes and then she thinks, but then Shiva will be very upset. How can I do this? He's my husband, I am devoted to him, and she comes back. So in this state of double mind, she was in and out, in and out. So therefore it says Vidha Asasa. So was very disturbed. Shanka means in a very disturbed state of mind. There was no peace and not able to decide. So Sri Vishwanath says that Abhyatra anugyayam balat nivarane cha sruhid drikshu sa balat niskramanti as bhavat parishankita cha punarvisati cha iti dvidha saika sati dvidha bhut. So he said both, because she was not given the permission, anugya, balat nivarane cha sruhid drikshu cha, and she was keen to go because she did not get the permission to go, and this power was stopping her not to go. But the desire to go and see them, that power of that desire was making her go out. And thus she fell into this state of doubt. And thus it is said that although she was one, it became as if she was two, divided in two. Atsukya Shankyo Dvayoh Sangrame Tulya Balatvat iti bhava. So the desire to go and meet her relatives and the doubt that this is not a proper action, they both were equally powerful. If one was stronger than the other, then she will take a decision. So when we have a doubt means that I can do this or I can do that. And if both are equally powerful, then that is considered as doubt. If one is more powerful than the other, that is considered as a possibility. So she was in this state and thus was unable to decide. But finally she takes a decision. Sruhudridiksha pratighata durmana snehad drutyasu kalati vivvala bhavam bhavanya pratipurusham drusha pradakshati eva kshata jata veputhu. So because her desire to see her relatives was obstructed by Lord Shiva, therefore Durmana, she was very disturbed in the mind, and because of the affection for the relatives, she was remembering them. Snehad Drutyasru Kalati Vevala. So Snehad Rudati, because of this affection she was crying. And there is attachment, and in that state of attachment there is separation, or if you remember your relative, then people start crying. So therefore she was crying and tears were flowing from her eyes and she was very much agitated. Bhavam bhavani aprati purusham rusha pradhyakshati akshata jatave. At that time her body was trembling and she looked at Lord Shiva out of anger as if she is going to burn him. So now her anger came out. So kamat krodha vijayate, Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that when there is a desire and the desire is not fulfilled, then person becomes angry. So now the anger came, and when anger comes, then comes forgetfulness, bewilderment, smriti bhransa. And when forgetfulness comes, then one can disrespect one's own relatives. So now in this angry mood, she is looking at Lord Shiva in a very disrespectful manner. Although Lord Shiva is stated here as aprati purusha, means that Lord Shiva is very kind and affectionate and loving. There is nobody who is like him. Means extremely kind, gracious and loving person. Does not deserve to be seen with angry eyes. He has not done anything wrong. He is only speaking what is beneficial and informing Sati not to go there because he knows that she will be insulted. So why should one go there, go to a place knowingly that he will be insulted in that place? So he was not enemy of Sati. He had no personal interest that she should stay. He was not thinking if she goes then I have to cook my own dinner. There was no such problem. But he knew that she will not like if she goes there. But so what could he do? He could only speak. And he did not speak out of anger or anything. He was very kindly. Even in the previous verses he was referring to our Varoru, means very beautiful and nice lady. Please don't go there. But she did not care. So that's why she is very angry. Ashruni kalayati sa navidyate prati purushastullo yasya tam bhavam mam gantum nanu janite iti pradhyakshati katakshir bhasmi karishyati eva akshata. So she was very, very angry, saying that you are not giving me permission, therefore I will burn you. So if you accept some authority from heart, then it is not possible. These stories are also described ultimately to explain what is pure bhakti. And when we come to the 10th canto, then we will read about the devotees of Krishna, how they are devoted to him. And then you can compare all these stories, because Sati, as the name implies, is very chaste and devoted to Lord Shiva. But you see how she is behaving towards Lord Shiva. Means she has personal interest. Sri Rupa Goswami says that Uttama Bhakti means Anya Bhilasita Sunya. That there is no other desire at all in pure devotion except the desire to please our beloved Lord Sri Krishna. Our pleasure is only in the pleasure of him. We don't have an independent pleasure or independent enjoyment. So we find that she is failing in that. And we will not see this in the case of gopis or the Brajvasis. They were so devoted to Krishna that they could do anything if this is pleasing to Krishna. So such a behavior will not be, they cannot even think. Not that such an idea will come and then they will philosophize that actually this is against the rule of Uttama Bhakti, therefore I should not do it. Nothing like that, just natural. Because their hearts are one, completely. So this is the meaning of Uttama Bhakti. This is what God actually wants us to realize here in this world. And then you can imagine that how nice the society will be. If everybody has a heart like this, then this is Vaikuntha right here. So it is for this reason that everybody prays to gopis. Even the most chaste woman, Ansuya, who is devoted to Sati and is supposed to be the hallmark of chastity. Even these ladies, they come nowhere near the devotion of the gopis, although it looks like that gopis were running after a man who is not their husband. So why would a chaste woman give respect to the gopis who are attached to somebody who is not husband? Because a chaste woman does not think of anyone else other than the husband. So they could understand that their devotion to God is so great that they cannot even think of it. So this is another thing which is indirectly or implied in these stories. And this is the reason why we have to study Bhagavatam in order to understand till you come to the ultimate, the apex of bhakti in the 10th canto. And then you can understand the difference and the intensity of that devotion. And then only we get an inkling what is Uttama Bhakti. So even these great personalities, these are not ordinary people, they cannot do such devotion. So therefore she is getting angry as if she is going to burn him. It's exactly stated here. Pradhyakshati. Pradhyakshati means completely not only burning but turning into ashes, not leaving any scope for him to get revived. You can burn somebody a little bit, he got 20% burn, 50% burn. It is saying not 100% but 200% burn. That even the burns turn into ashes. That is called pradhyakshati. So much anger. And this in Uttama Bhakti there is anger. You know that there are 12 types of rasas, 7 are secondary, out of that one anger is there. But that anger is not on Krishna. That anger is those who are enemies of Krishna. Devotees become enemies, they don't become angry at Krishna. So here the anger is on him, and because her own desire is obstructed. That's why it is stated that Sruhit Dudriksha Apratighata Durmana. So she was angry because her desire to see the relatives was not granted. So this does not come within bhakti. This is not part of devotion. Because a devotee does not have independent desire. So tato vinishvasva sati vihayatam shokena roshena cha duyata hrida pitroragat strena vimuda dhirgrihan premnatmano yor ardhamadata satam priyaha. So then what she did, finally she decides, because now obviously she is getting angry, means the desire to see has become prominent. So she left him. Vinisvasya sati vihayatam shokena roshena cha duyata. But she had both. She was distressed and she was also angry. She was distressed because she is leaving him, and she was angry that he is not giving permission to go. And therefore she had a pain in her heart very much. And Pitro Ragata Strana Vimuda Dhirgriha. Premna Atmano Yo Ardham Adat Satam Priya. So she left Lord Shiva, who has given him half of her body out of love. She left and went to the house of her father, being bewildered by her womanly characters. ततश्च औत्सुक्य संख्यो द्वयोर आयत्याम औत्सुक्यस्य प्राबल्ये शंकाया पराभव. So earlier we read that this fight was going on in her mind, two things. One was the eagerness to see the relatives, another was this fear of leaving Shiva. So now he says that the eagerness to see the relatives took over. If this had not taken over, that means he would have still remained within the bound of devotion to Shiva. So she actually got out of it. She jumped out of the boundary of bhakti, and therefore she will be finished. So Atsukyasya Prabalya Sankaya Parabhaya. Then the Shanka was subdued or became weak. Tam Bhavam Vihaya. Therefore she left Lord Shiva. Duyata Uktapyamanena Pitror Grihanadar. So with a heavy heart she went to the house of her father. Katham bhutam ya premna atmano dehasya ardhamadaktam. So how is Shiva? What type of Shiva? Lord Shiva, who has given half of herself to her out of love. So he is called Ardhanarishwara. Half of Lord Shiva's side is Sati, another half of himself. Means he who has given himself to her so much out of love, she dropped him and left. And she left actually once for all because she is not coming back. And Shiva knew this. So why this happened? Tyage hetu stranam stri svabhavas tena mudhanti. She was bewildered, overpowered by womanly nature. So because of this, she was able to go and give up the association of Lord Shiva. And then it will be described how she will reach the house of her father and she will not be received properly there. And then she will be in a big position. Now she cannot come back. If she comes back, then Lord Shiva will taunt her. Look, I told you. So why did you go? So she was again in the same situation there. She cannot come back, she cannot stay there. Like she was going in and out. So again she will fall into this situation. Not able to come back to Lord Shiva, not able to stay with the father because he is not caring for her. So yes, she has to give up her body. That was the only solution. So that's what she did. So let's stop here if there is any question.
Again, same question. Is this anger Sati experiences, is it material or is it
Material.
so same like our level?
Yes. Because if it was not material anger, it would not bring this kind of result. It's material because it is for her own sake. If it was for the sake of Lord Shiva, then it would be different. It was for her own pleasure. It was her desire to see the relatives. If she has devoted herself to Shiva and become half of his body, why she has to be so attached to the relatives now? Especially the relatives who are disrespecting Shiva.
And Shiva doesn't experience this kinds of material sentiments. He has a materialistic wife.
That's why he gave only half the body. Kept the other half to himself.
Could this be also seen as a divine Leela, that the Lord uses them to show something?
Ultimately, of course, all these things are for our education, to understand. Because they are eternal husband and wife. So this is to show that how human mind works like this. And this is also to, as I said, ultimately to make us understand what it means loving a person, what actually is love. If you love somebody, then you love that person fully. You don't love half. Which means that if you are loving somebody, you are devoted to that person, then you don't care for a person who is against that person. If you do that, that means there is some problem. Then you are 50-50. This way also, that way also. So this shows the psychology of a person who is not fully devoted. This is what we have to learn from this. Because if we only study the behavior of people who are fully devoted, and we have no comparison of the behavior of people who are not fully devoted, we will not understand what it means to be fully devoted. The stories actually help us to understand the mind of the gopis and their exalted position. And then so that we can aspire to be like that. It's actually, stories are told for us to understand our mind, that it is we who behave in this manner. Shiva is like a guru, Sati is like a disciple. As I said in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says. So Arjuna is an eternal associate of Lord Krishna. As we read earlier, that Narayana were born to Dharma and Murti, and it was said that they are Krishna and Arjuna. So there is no question of his not being devoted. He is an eternal associate. But taking him as a character, Lord Krishna is teaching us so that we understand our mind. So that's what is being taught. Otherwise, Sati is not a materialistic person.
That story of Sati turning into Sita, where is that from?
It's in Ramayana,
In Tulsi Ramayana?
Ramcharitmanas.
At the beginning you spoke about Vishuddha Sattva and how it's not dependent on Sattva, Rajas and Tamas.
Yes.
So the Lord can give His grace to someone who is ostensibly in one of those
Yes.
states.
Mudha, Khaga, Nara, animals also can become devotees. These examples are there in Bhagavatam just to show this point that how bhakti is not dependent. That even snakes, birds, they became devotees. Elephant, Asura, the story of Rudrasura. It will come later on. So he is a devotee, but he is an Asura. His behavior is also like an Asura. He doesn't match. Because usually we think that devotee means very sattvic. Which is usually the case. But just to show that actually bhakti is not dependent on anything like this. Even an Asura can be a devotee. Krishna says, Datya Nam Prahlada Asmi. Among the Datyas I am Prahlad, the devotee.
Aprati Purusha always means something was disrespectful or...
No, Aprati Purusha means one who does not have another example like him. Prati means Pratinidhi. Not Pratinidhi yasya Purushasya sa Aprati Purusha. Madhyam Padalopi Samas.
So there is nobody's like him.
means
then.
unparalleled.
Unparalleled.